Chapter 10, you never have enough time. What I've realized when you venture off and do anything that is not typical, right? So you're doing something that you've never done before, and you're trading off the unknown to invest in some arbitrary future, and you don't know what those alternatives will look like, the outcomes will actually look like for the alternatives that you're investing in. When you do this, you almost always feel like you never have any time. It almost always feels like you think that there is a moment where if you put in extra amounts of work, you trade off more, you continue to invest beyond what you're doing right now, you think that you can always do a little better, and you'll get wherever that outcome that you're looking for, that arbitrary outcome that you're looking for, you feel like you can get there much quicker by investing more and more of your time, your effort, your money. And that's what makes it so seductive, is that you believe in your head that if I simply just put in more time, more effort, more of what I'm actually doing at this moment, that we can rush the process. And the truth is that often that is not the case. You can't rush something that you're trying to figure out along the way. Now, what ends up happening when you rush, so there's these two goals that happen. One of them is based on survival and longevity, and another one is based on performance. And what you're doing is you're trading off and focusing on performance because you think that you can get there quicker. You can perform better, you can do better, you can be at a higher level. But this often is at a trade-off for survival or doing something for a longer time. And often the problem is not necessarily a performance issue. It's often you trying to figure out how to survive. What is the key thing that'll allow you to do a little bit better so that you can survive for a longer time? And this is very true if you're in an entrepreneurial endeavor, if you're doing something, a new venture, for example, is that you're often looking for not necessarily to perform better today, but you're looking to survive a longer time because you don't know what your objective is. It's not clear. Again, you don't understand what you should be really investing in. There's no clear future. There's no perfect alternative that you should invest in, and it's not necessarily clear, and you're constantly revising what those alternatives actually are. Right? So one way to think about this in the entrepreneurship literature is that there's this idea of discovery, that we know what we should discover, and it's very clear we should discover these particular opportunities. But another way to look at it and think about it is that you're constantly creating, and you're making things up, and you're making up the alternatives. You don't know what those particular alternatives actually are and the outcomes actually are. When you do this, you will think that it's very easy and it simply just requires more investment. That is the problem, is that you're just not investing that much, because the only lever that you often have is what you're investing in, how much you're investing in, because many things are outside of your control. They're due to the environment that you're in, they're due to your situation, your context. And so the only lever that you have as an individual often is to just invest, spend more time, spend more effort, And so you think that that is the default, is to simply invest more when things are not quite going as planned. The truth is that's not always the case. So what can you do with this particular issue, that you have this seductive nature of wanting to invest more, wanting to put more time in because you think that that is the easiest thing forward? The only thing that you can do is put bounds on what is possible and look for moments and ways that you can violate norms. So moments where you would not necessarily think that this is proper, and you're violating norms that most people would feel uncomfortable and weird with. I talked about that in my last book that I wrote. So often about these norms violations that you feel uncomfortable with, feel weird, right? So for me, speaking all of the time when I'm on spare moments feels weird. I do get weird looks every once in a while. Or, somebody might know that I do this, and then it's kind of weird. It's weird moments, and it feels slightly uncomfortable because it's not typical for most people. And it's uncomfortable for me. I'm the first to admit it. But how else do you build something? And that is the key thing to think about. If you have a limited amount of resources, which I do, I only can spend so much. I'm already at probably too much. And I don't want to go anymore. How do you build something that doesn't exist? And the key is to do these norms violations that feel really, really strange. And so you look for moments that you can get that do not necessarily require you to invest much more. And it's true, it does require you to invest more. I'm investing more of my time, but they feel more pleasurable, and they feel like you can actually do this on a daily basis or on a regular basis without it feeling too onerous on you. Now, when I do this, I realize that this takes a lot longer. It's not as professional. There's a lot of rusty things that are going on. It's very clear. I'm doing this in my car, and I'm doing the best that I possibly can with the resources I'm given. But that doesn't mean it's pretty. That doesn't mean it looks nice. That doesn't mean any of the things that you would expect. So the only thing that you can do is to forgive yourself. And it's a lot of forgiveness, that you cannot get to where you want to go to, that you will not be able to invest as much as you would like. And the only thing that you could do is really focus on a lot of self-forgiveness. When you look weird, when you're talking to yourself, or people give you weird looks, you just practice self-forgiveness, that you're doing this and it's something that you need to do. And you try to say, I'm okay at any given moment. When you cannot invest as much as you would like, because always seems like there is much more to do, you just practice a lot of self-forgiveness and you say, I'm okay. And sometimes you might have a good cry about it because you can't get there. Or somebody, and it's usually only one or two people, will ever tell you that you're not good enough. Well, you have your good cry and you get back up again and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. The only option that you have is to create good boundaries so you can spend time with the people that you love and yourself, whatever you need that for. And then after that, once you set those boundaries, once you figure out which norms you can violate, the sort of squeezing the moments of where you're doing nothing that you can, or doing something that you could do something else at, and people are going to laugh at it because it doesn't fit with what everybody else is doing. Once you do that and you find those things, then you practice the self-forgiveness repeatedly over and over and over again because you're doing something that is strange. It doesn't feel right in any sort of way. And you keep practicing that over and over where you say, I'm good enough. I'm doing the things that I can do at this moment, and any more would probably lead to complete disaster, such as a divorce or something along those lines. And that's all you do is repeatedly practice that over and over and over again, and you do your best with what you actually have. And if you do this time and time again, maybe, just maybe, you'll get closer to your objective. But here's the thing, maybe not. You never know. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.